Today we're going to talk about Hebrew. Now, this language is very interesting in that the letters represent a lot of different things. In Kabbalah, there's the mystical meanings of the Hebrew. And I've also found out that God's name in Hebrew, which is Yud-He Vav-He, also represents the three dimensions of length, width, and height. Now, another thing that I found out is that the Maru Foundation, in their research, found out that Hebrew represents like geometrical shapes. And it also represents the 27 hyperdimensional direction points in three-dimensional space. He used the 22 letters of Hebrew and then 5 special letters that have been added to the Hebrew. There are other things that are interesting about Hebrew. The fact that the letters also represent numbers. And people are using this to add up the numeral values of the words and the verses, and they're actually finding extra meanings to these verses. An example is of Isaiah 19:19, which talks about the altar to the Lord in Egypt. They found out when they added up the Hebrew letters that it was the actual height of the Great Pyramid. So I think that's interesting. There was a man named Reverend J.H. Broome that wrote a book about the Hebrew letters, comparing them to the star constellations and certain star patterns. And I took that and I used it with the tabernacle pattern to find out that it was a star pattern that represented Hebrew, and I found that I converted the Hebrew into numbers, and I found that it represented a latitude and longitude location. And I talk about that in my book, The Message of Taurus, which is online. So just recently I was looking at his chart and I decided to compare it to actually take a celestial map and mark each one of these Hebrew letters. And I found out that a majority of the letters are along the ecliptic area, and some of them are along the celestial equator and the galactic equator. So I plotted them on a celestial map, and I think it's very interesting. There may be an added message there. I can't read Hebrew, so I don't know, and I wouldn't even know where to start on the message because the celestial sphere around the earth, of course, is round, and I don't know where you would look to read the Hebrew of the star message. I don't know where you would start, what the starting point would be. I suspect it would be the line of the Silver Gate and the Golden Gate and Orion is probably where you start the message. If there is a message. I can't read Hebrew, so I don't know, but there might be a message there.
In the video, Sacred Knowledge in Plain Sight, I learned that most of the major sites in Jerusalem that are associated with Jesus Christ are lined up in a row with the Golden Gate and the Holy of Holies and the Temple. I decided to compare the map from the video to the star constellations of the Tabernacle star map and to the stars in the sky. The Silver Gate matches up with the Holy of Holies, which is Orion in the Tabernacle star map. In Jerusalem, Jesus is supposed to return through the Golden Gate, and I can't help but wonder if Jesus will come out of the Golden Gate area in the sky as well.